Welcome, Hicham. How are you?
Hello. Very good, very good. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. Great to have you. Well, you're very welcome to give us some insights into UserGuest so you can start your presentation anytime you're ready.
Mhm. Share my screen.
UserGuest. I heard a lot of good things about UserGuest. I'm really curious now, Hicham. Huh?
Indeed.
All right. Just let me know when you can see my screen and my slides so I can
Yes,
move forward.
Looking
Okay,
good.
yes, we do.
perfect. All right, so UserGuest, what it is about is mostly rev marketing automation. So I think it was a great segue. The last questions and conversations with the Pier Giorgio about combining revenue and marketing and creating some sort of synergy and uh, and automation. So I think this is a we think it's really the key to combining those two things together is combining at the same time strategies from a revenue perspective and making sure that we are unlocking the website for the revenue manager strategies. And having an impact directly on the direct segment. So that's what rev marketing automation is about. I'll say a lot of RMA, that's short for rev marketing automation. So I use that quite a bit moving forward. So I think we have a little story to best explain what RMA is about, what rev marketing automation is about. So I'd like you to use a bit of your imagination. I'm sure you all work in the hotel business and I'm 100% sure that this happens quite a bit to you guys. So imagine you have a friend that works in a hotel or manages a few hotels in Amsterdam, for instance. And that person tells you, well, next time you come to Amsterdam, give me a quick call. I can get you a good deal. Um, what happens next time you make it to Amsterdam? You would reach out to that person. Hey, I have come into Amsterdam, quite flexible on the dates. Usually that's the first question. Are you flexible? Do you know where you want to stay? No, I'm quite flexible. Pretty much, I just want a deal. So this revenue manager, friend of yours, will look at a few hotels they look after, and based on the availability inventory they have, they'll say, you know what, if you could stay on these dates, I can give you a great deal. And done. This is what a lot of people are looking for. And this, in a lot of ways, is the essence of rev marketing automation, is providing great incentive to your website visitors based on your availability, your inventory needs. So I'll explain a bit more how it works, how we look at rev marketing automation and RMA. So the idea, again, is to automatically put hotel revenue strategies in front of your website visitors based on your inventory and availability, and mostly based on your needs and challenges. So here we have a little calendar, and we identified that we have some dates that need special attention. It's harder for us to sell those dates. That could be the challenge that we face in at this specific moment, right? So what will we do? This is the opportunity. We identified that those 4 days need quite a bit of attention. Those days need to be filled. And that's our challenge and opportunity at the same time. So how the system, how we look at things at UserGuest and really what RMA is about is seizing that opportunity and matching it with automatically, obviously, matching it with what your users and website visitors are looking for. We identify here, we have a user called Camilla coming from Australia that's looking for an early booking during those dates. So that's exactly what she's looking for. She's traveling to Europe. She's looking for a year, let's say it's next November, we're talking about a year ahead of time or like 6 weeks, 6 months, sorry, ahead. And she's looking, that matches perfectly with what she's looking for. That's where the match happens. Is at the same time we're catering to the hotel's needs and challenges, and at the same time we're providing something that fits with the user, predicting in one way the booking intention of that specific user. In an automated way, in practice, what ends up happening is that we display Camilla a great offer, pushing her to book the dates that we would like her to book, that the dates that fit with what we want to sell and to really that's our need at that specific moment. So this is the incentive. Camila gets a great deal. It's personalized because she was actually looking for something around those dates, and we give her a 30% off to book those specific dates. We push the right offer basically automatically to the right visitor at the right time. The right time, we always use this sentence specifically, but in this case, the right time means the right dates for us, for the revenue management thinking strategy for the hotel, the right dates that need to be sold for the right visitors because we match in with what she's looking for. And we provided an offer that makes a lot of sense for everybody. So we boosting these specific dates. We actually driving much more direct bookings, providing the right benefit, the right incentive to the right user at the right time. And this is our way to kind of close the deal and drive much more direct bookings. So in essence, what Rev Marketing automation is about is combining the two, making sure that revenue strategies are visible to your website visitors, that any incentive, any proactiveness from the revenue management team is actually seen by the user. And at the same time, it's about personalizing the user experience, making sure that the user is getting what they're looking for. And the match happens through incentives that are pushed automatically to convince the user to get the dates that we would like to sell. So that's in short. This is what we do at UserGuest, and this is RMA in a few minutes.
Excellent story there, Hicham. Thanks very much for those insights. Let's hear from Per. How do you find this, Per, and any particular questions from your side?
Yeah, a lot. Thank you, Hicham. Good presentation. Sitting here in a cold Oslo, it's snowing a lot outside. It's very dark, so it's nice to see a good presentation. I actually have two questions. One of them is, it's all about rooms. We have 225 hotels, everything from small hotels to big resorts. Could you use your system? Because for me, instead of giving a discount, I would rather give them a deal at the spa or the restaurant or something like that. And the other question, take them directly, is like the booking pace lately, the last years has been much, the customer books much later. Before you were actually planning your things, but now you're more like, okay, you take your decision much later, and you can actually book a really expensive weekend only days before that you actually planned several weeks before or months. Does the system take that to an account? Because are they learning that the bookings comes slower or later on? If you understand what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the fact that there has been a change in booking behaviors, that the booking windows have shortened so much, it means that the user, the web visitor, is even more flexible than they used to be. So they would rather go for a good deal than for specific dates. So we see a lot of clicks, a lot of interaction with users that rather switch. Well, they want to book last minute, yes, but they could be swayed to book a day before, a day later, just maybe next week, if you're providing them with the right incentive. So
good.
That's actually helping a bit more in terms of the direct booking, having the right incentive, convincing the users for specific behavior and to book now has actually we've seen way bigger impact now than before. So you can sway more somebody that's booking maybe next week or 10 days versus somebody that already has to book for a year from now, that already have their dates quite set.
Good. And about the food, the spa, is that a potential for the system, or is it already there?
Yes, it's already there, actually. So we push at the same time. So in the example, I try to show a few things, not just giving the discount, but actually giving benefits. So there's different ways that we can convince the user, and depending on the type of hotel as well. So it's not about giving a discount. It's about adding value. It's about giving the benefits, and you can convince the user whether with an added value, or it could be a free upgrade, could be a freebie at the bar, credit at the restaurant, spa, could be anything. But it's really about convincing them to book directly on that specific moment and going for the dates that make the most sense for you from a hotel perspective.
Perfect. Thank you.
Excellent questions. Tanya, coming from the resorts world on the islands, tell us what you think.
Yeah, that was really insightful. Thank you for that. Actually, sounds like a dream coming true, being able to have a technical solution that covers both aspects of revenue and marketing, and in addition, automated. So my question would be, how is this solution actually be able to communicate? Where does it take his data from to be able to react? So do you have the the behavior on the website, of course, but do you have any other data sources to come your insights from? And what are you doing with the demand that is more fixed? You were talking a lot about driving demand to the dates you need the bookings, but we, in the vacational resorts, we have lots of time slots, for example, Christmas, holidays, or like this, fixed dates where guests are really looking for these dates and they are not flexible on the rates. What options do you have with this kind of demand on with your solution?
Yeah, great question. So I'll start with the first bit. In terms of data, so we use our own data and aggregate it, plus other sources of data to give us a good indication of the demand, what's the booking behavior for the destination, and more macro, let's say, data. So to be able to predict a dominant behavior for the destination at the specific time. So that's one bit. In terms of, there's other sources also that we're plugged to. So it could be PMS, RMS systems as well that we get the data from. In terms of the behavior that we see when it's more fixed behavior. So this is a great question. It's not about changing the behavior itself and pushing them to do something else. It's about two things. One, sometimes what I mentioned previously is about convincing them to go for the dates, but also it's about convincing them to have a behavior that's more profitable for you. Great example you had, let's say, we're talking about a classic example of a domestic market, let's say France, domestic market going to Paris. Tends to be very short stays, one night. The average is 1.4, 1.3. How can you, this is the behavior and this is not going to change because just by default, this is how it is. So what you do is try to identify the existing behavior and push them to have something slightly more profitable for you. In this case, whatever is domestic, we'll try to push them to stay 2 nights. And the incentive would be to have a behavior that's already existing, but slight tweak to be much more profitable for you. If you can move the needle, let's say on your domestic, 1 night versus 2, that's really what can push revenue, profitability, and so on. So yeah, it's not so much about it changing the behavior, it's identifying what we see and finding ways, areas that we can be more profitable for the hotel.
Excellent. Well, that was super insightful. Thank you very much, Tanya. And now going all the way to the Caribbean. Oh, but Pablo, I think Pablo is with us in Europe this time. Pablo, any questions from your side?
Yes. Well, I just want to know, because you just mentioned that you also gather information about PMS, RMS, different, let's say, ecosystems. But how do the data that you gather, which is very important for demand, let's say, but also for loyalty, how does the information can be an input for loyalty systems that a hotel can have, and thus making, let's say, future marketing campaigns targeting those clients that we want from what you are doing from your solution?
Well, it's a great question. So I'll try not to, what's the expression, spill the beans, and keep it as a, well, it's coming up. The way to look at it is, obviously, let's say loyalty programs, you're more willing to give them, so there's a behavior already that let's say your loyal customers would have. And let's say, let's talk about it, let's say members, different members badges. platinum, gold, silver, or whatever it could be. You're willing, those specific people, whether they're platinum or gold, they tend to stay more with you. So there's already behavior that you know they're pre-qualified. So the idea is to be able to identify those users early, directly on your website, and right away provide that incentive for them you're willing to give them a bit more because you know they give back more. So that's a bit the way to look at it in terms of close, kind of not only looking at different systems, but also looking at CRM. That's a great system that also we work with, and where we can influence a bit more the direct bookers, providing better incentives to your most loyal guests. That answers the question.
Great, thank you, Hicham.
Pleasure.
Excellent. Well, I think we've had a really interesting session here. Thank you very much, Hicham. You're very welcome to connect with Hicham at his direct website, www.userguest.com, and look him up on Facebook and LinkedIn to connect further. So thanks very much, Hicham. See you again very soon.
Thank you all for having me. It was a pleasure.
Bye, Hicham.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.